we are here for William Ephraim. We are here for Trayvon Watts. We are here for Howard Morgan. We are here for those victims of police crimes, police torture, police murder, Edwin Davida. We are here for all of those victims, but we are also here for our children. Our children who are also the victims of police crimes or the future victims of police crimes. We are here for your children. We are here to make sure that they don't become the future victims, that we're not marching down here a year from now weeping for your children or weeping for you or working to get you out of prison. So we are here for the victims, but we are here to make sure that there are no future victims. Can I get an amen? Amen. Can I get a justice? Justice. We are glad that you all came out. We are going to march down to City Hall, and we are going to demand that one of these councilmen take this legislation and make this legislation law so that folks like you and I will have oversight over the police so that when they commit crimes, they go to prison the same way we would go to prison. Amen? Amen. When police commit crimes, they should do the time.
Yes. That's right.
When they commit crimes, they should do the time. Can I hear y'all say it? When they commit crimes,
they should do the time.
When police commit crimes,
they should do the time.
We are marching to City Hall to make sure that this legislation is enacted. We're not just marching to be marching. We're marching to get something done. And it's not just to get these current officers convicted. That's on the list as well. It's to make sure that we put policies in place that convict them all. Amen?
Amen.
No justice.
No peace.
No more crooked
police.
Thank you.
Mr. Dickie Gaines.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm glad to see the number of people come out for this rally because this is a worthy cause to rectify what is wrong in this city with these police officers. Okay? We have people lying in their grave because of the murderous conduct of people who we are paying their salaries, and there's no accountability. Okay, we have cases where the police have been caught on videotape shooting people and nothing has been done. In the building, directly to your east, is the office of the United States Attorney for the Northern District of Illinois. That office is responsible for enforcement of your civil rights. Yeah. And what we have is an office that have neglected the rights of the citizens because no indictments have been rendered against any Chicago police officers that have engaged in conduct, including murder, wrongful imprisonment, harassment, false arrest. The only thing this current U.S. attorney is interested in is joining force with the senator of this state who wants to imprison the young members of this city who he refers to as gangbangers. But he don't want to imprison the police that commit crimes in the community every day. Black community, Latino community, even in the white community. Okay? So we got to stand together and fight this system so that we can get real change. Thank you.
Mark Clements.
Hello, my name is Mark Clements. I am a member of Chicago Alliance Against Racism and Political Repression. We have filed a complaint with the U.S. Justice Department. Why? There are too many of our kids, men, being gunned down by Chicago police. Chicago police torture victims still remain in prison 41 years after the fact. You mean to tell me that 41 years after the fact, over $100 million spent on one man, that these men must still suffer inside of someone's prison? I say no. We are people that must understand what is our human rights. Marcus Wiggins was 13 years of age, taken inside of an interrogation room where that electrical shock box was connected to his body. Where is Marcus Wiggins now today? Still in prison. Where is John Burge? In prison. Where is his victims? In prison. This madness must stop, and it must stop now. The mayor is accountable. He must change the way that this system is operating. It has not been effective under any circumstances. Anita Alvarez has worked for the police. She has turned an eye to justice, and we are here today to call Anita Alvarez out and to tell her to transform her behavior. We have filed a complaint with the Justice Department, and we want justice for all of those torture victims. Me, myself, 28 years inside of a prison. Why? Why? Are you a people that like giving away your money? Are you a people that like watching injustice and turning blind eyes? This city right now has just approved a settlement for Eric Kane, $10 million. Waiting on several other men's settlements to be approved by the Financial Committee that could raise it and top it over $100 million. Wake up, people. Let's rise up against this corrupt, evil, criminal justice system. Thank you.
Mr. Gator Bradley.
First off, let me say to God be the glory for us to stand out here and to fight for those that's incarcerated and who have been murdered. Maybe I don't need the mic.
Yes, you do, Mr. Bradley.
First off, I'm here with Gerald Reed's mom. Y'all know Miss Plummer. Gerald Reed is one of the victims that was tortured. That the torture commission came back with conclusive evidence to say that he was tortured by the officers of under John Burge. Stanley Wright. Understand what I'm saying? Stanley Wright was to go on trial on the 23rd of September. Was to go on trial on the 23rd of September. And his judge made it where Mayor Daley had to testify in that courtroom up under a subpoena. The Chief Judge Beeble called that judge into his chambers and told her to recuse herself from that case because she made it where Daley has to come and testify about what he know about the tortures. Understand the gravity of what I'm saying. Daley's brother wants to be governor. Understand the power of what I'm saying. If he's governor, that means the Torture Commission can be no longer there. Chief Judge Beaver was the same one that picked the last special prosecutor, Egan and Boyd. And he made sure he picked them so that Daley would not get questioned. The new special prosecutor will make sure that Gerald and the others that's asking for hearings may not get a hearing. Yeah, this is the 50th anniversary of the March on Washington, where they talked about police brutality then. It's worse now. They doing it in your face, making sure that they don't get on the stand. I'm saying this because, yeah, they want to lock up gang bangers. They just locking up more Negroes. I ain't afraid of the N-word. They want to lock up more Negroes. But they don't lock up the police officers that's responsible for murder and torture. And let me make it plain. 3 officers in Schaumburg. 3 police officers in Schaumburg dealt with corruption just by locking up some drug dealers and sticking them up. This state's attorney made it where every case that them 3 officers was involved in, they freed the individuals who got locked up. Schaumburg officers. I'm saying this because it was a Schaumburg officer that called me. And I said they all need to be locked up. He said, okay, Gator. But this state's attorney is dealing in selective prosecution. She has not indicted no police officers involved in police murder. They're still on the payroll of Chicago Police Department. She ain't locked up no police officer that's responsible for torture confessions because they're from Chicago. A gang is a group of individuals that be socially irregular. Forget GD, forget BD, get up on FOP. You need to know about FOP. Fraternal Order Police.
That's a hate group.
That support this. None of them turned in a police officer. They murdered someone and they had a camera of them killing Mr. Farmer's son. That was a police camera from a police vehicle. That officer's still working. So on behalf of Gerald Reed, on behalf of the other torture victims, on behalf of the families of the murder police officers, you need to do what I did and what Gerald did. We wrote a letter to Chief Judge Tim Evans and asked him to investigate how Chief Judge Beaver could go and make a judge, I believe her name is Clay, recuse herself because she gave the order to have daily subpoenas. And what that means is this: a new judge comes in and reverses every order that she gave. Say South Africa. Supposed to be American. If it don't be me tomorrow, it'll be you the next day. Her son was tortured. Her son was tortured. Okay? Y'all sons was murdered. Take my word for it. They killed Farmer's son. They give the family $4 million. That's duplicity, ain't it? That's saying that, yeah, okay, they did wrong. They killed that man's son. It was 4 individuals that I hadn't seen. and we all in one room, and I realized all they sons got killed by police officers. I'd have been GDs, they'd have been up in arms to kick all the doors in. But because there was FOP, they don't kick it in. I'm just saying, we got the power when we march down to City Hall in honor of the 50th anniversary. Let's say Chief Judge find out why Chief Judge Evans, his office in that building, why did that Chief Judge get rid of that judge? Is it because she made the order for Daley to finally get on the stand and testify?
Hello, my name is Amanda Shackelford. I'm the mother of Gerald Reed. My son was tortured into signing a confession for 2 counts of murder that he did not do. Now the police, instead of them, they get paid to do their job. They get paid good money. But they wouldn't do it the way it should have been done. They got my son on the first night of his arrest. They put a gun to his head. They put him in a car, drove him, and he thought he was going to another police station. Instead, they took him to an alley, told him to get out of the car, took his handcuffs off, told him to run. And he said, Mama, if I had ran, they was going to shoot me. So he got back in the car and sat down. And you know that made him mad. Because they didn't get what they wanted to have done. They took him back to the station. But before they took him back, they put a gun to his head and told him to sign those papers. He got back to the station. He did not sign the papers. This was October 3rd, 1990. The following night, they took him again, but they took him in a different area. In that police station, they beat him. They kicked him. My son had a pin in his leg, holding his leg together, because he had gotten shot years before this happened. But on the second night, they didn't know that the pin was in his leg. They kicked him, they messed up his hip, they broke that pin in that leg. Right now, my son is walking on 2 crutches. He has been on those 2 crutches for almost 2 years. He was on 1 for almost 3. But they're still torturing my son because they refuse to do surgery on him. They told him that only thing they could do for him is amputate that leg. And every time I see my son, it hurts so bad. It hurts so bad because he's in such pain. And you know what? I thank God for the Torture Commission. Mr. David Thomas has done a marvelous job. And I'm so proud of that commission. Because if it wasn't for him and that commission, our family members will still be where they are. That's the only chance that they have. They need that help. They need that help. And when do they need it? Now! 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 Now, you know what? It should have never happened. That should have never been going on. One officer told my son that he was going to send me to early grade. He lie. I'm still here. I'm still here. I'm not going nowhere.
No justice, no peace.
No more racist
Police. No justice.
No
peace. No more racist. Police.
No justice, no peace.
No more racist police. No justice, no peace. No more racist police. No justice, no peace. No more racist police.
Next field.
First of all, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out this morning. My name is Jason Speeches, and without any doubt, I have been a victim of police crimes in a terrible way. I was, in 1985, I was framed by the Chicago police on a double murder. Based on that framing, and then my being sentenced to the death penalty, I spent a total of 11 and a half years on Illinois death row for a crime I didn't commit. The total amount of time that I spent in prison for this crime was 17 years and 11 months. To make a long story short, I was eventually retried and I was found not guilty. I represented myself in my certificate of innocence hearing, which I won against the very prosecutors who was trying to send me back to death row. It's been almost 30 years since this happened to me, but since being home, I see that it's business as usual with the Chicago police. Nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. It is just something in the core of the Chicago police that just make them refuse to acknowledge that a person could be innocent, that they could have made a mistake. My position has always been that the death penalty is a dangerous thing to tinker with, and primarily based on the fact that we all make mistakes. We all make mistakes. This is not a baseball game dealing with the death penalty, as it was being dealt with me, but it was played like that by the Chicago police, like it was a baseball game. But unlike a baseball game, when the player slides into second base and the umpire says he's out, hey, that player goes to the dugout, well, guess what? He can come back out. They can look at further review and say, hey, guess what? We made a mistake. So that man can come back on the field and go back to second base. Let me draw a parallel to what happened to me, or what almost happened to me. The parallel is, you can't make a mistake with the death penalty. You can't bring a man back from the grave. And that theory in itself, along with many others that myself and 20 other death row exonerees from Illinois brought to the people of Illinois, was accepted when the death penalty was abolished in 2010 in Illinois. While I was on death row, I witnessed a total of 11 men executed. Many of these men that I was with and befriended while I was on death row, I'll never forget. I live with those memories, I'll die with those memories. There's nothing that can take it from me. But I can say this, since I've been home, I work construction with major construction rigs. I started my own landscaping business. I am a board member of Witness to Innocence, a group of exonerated death row prisoners from across America who has come together to tell their story of how we all wound up on the death row. But guess what? No Chicago policeman has apologized to me. No state's attorney in Cook County has apologized to me. No judge, no governor, no nobody. We gotta bring major attention to the crimes of the police. Thank you so much.
All right.
Miss Krista, no.
No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
No peace. No more racist police.
Good morning, everyone. I am so glad to see everybody here. We are marching against police crimes, and when we say crimes, that's exactly what we mean. We're not talking about misconduct here. We're talking about crimes. We're talking about aggravated battery. We're talking about murder. We're talking about what they like to call involuntary manslaughter. We're talking about Rekia Boyd. We're talking about Dakota Bright. We're talking about people who were executed, were shot in their heads by the police. This is an execution, and as the young gentleman said to us today, there is no death penalty in Illinois. So why are the police still killing people? We do not kill people in Illinois. It is not state sanctioned. The state has made it clear you will not kill an Illinois citizen. So they should stop killing us. Now, I'm not saying every now and then we got people in our community that don't deserve a cap in their AZZs. But what I am saying is that they do not deserve, or I should say, they are not allowed to be killed in Illinois. So I'm going to give you some stats on the police. Because a few things have changed in the past few years. So let's look at it. Between 2009 and 2012, there have been 224 officer-involved shootings in the city of Chicago. Of those shootings, 213, 95% have been male and 11% have been female. There have been approximately 63 fatalities. That's 28% of all shootings. 28% means 1 out of 3 shootings will end in death. In 2009, there were 19 fatalities. In 2010, there were 13 fatalities. In 2011, there were 23 fatalities. And let me put a little asterisk on that. In 2010, 5 police officers were shot and killed. In 2011, 23 people were shot and killed by the police. That needs a Department of Justice investigation. It went from 13 to 23 in 1 year. You need a Department of Justice investigation on that. In 2012, 8 fatalities. We have been out here fighting for years to get them to bring their numbers down, and they have finally brought their numbers down. Unfortunately, they are still shooting and killing people. As of today, 2013, we believe that 6 people have been shot and killed. In 2009, there has been a steady increase of African Americans being killed. 2009, 66% of the shootings were African Americans. In 2010, 74% of the shootings were African American. In 2011, 80% of the shootings were African American. In 2012, 88% of the shootings were African American. And as of now, only 1 shooting of the 6 was not an African American. That was a Hispanic man. Of the tasings, we are 74% of the tasings. Now, electrocution, which is what tasing is what the police torture victims are talking about. These men were electrocuted. Tasing is electrocution. Yes. And 74% of the tasings are African American. Wow. I represent Women's All Points Bulletin. We are a nonprofit organization that protects women against police violence, and we have been talking at the police board for 4 years. And I am here to say that since the Rekia Boyd shooting of 2012 in March, they have not shot 1 woman. Your voices are being heard. We are making a difference. Keep marching, keep speaking out. They went from shooting 23 to 8. That's us. That is us. We make a difference. Keep making a difference. Peace and grace to all of you all. Love. Okay, everyone, we have one more speaker here.
at the Federal Plaza. After he removes from center stage here, we're going to line up to head over to the Thompson Center. I would like all the families of torture victims and all families of police crimes to line up at the beginning of the march. You're going to lead the march, okay? If you have any questions, you'll see me around here
This
going
is Juan
crazy.
Carlos
Just
Fernandez
stop.
reporting for CAN TV live
Okay.
from the Federal Plaza. We're
Mr.
reporting
Colvin?
on the march on City Hall to stop police crime. And here we're talking to, well, actually listening to protesters, and we're going to talk to one of the younger ones. Shania? Shania, tell us why you're here today.
Because I wanted to make a change, and I like doing what I do at the Chicago Alliance Against Racist and Political Repression. And we've been working on this for months, so I think it's really fun. And I really want people to know what's happening in the in their communities.
How long have you been involved with this organization?
About a year.
What do your friends think of you being involved and being so young?
Well, I don't think my friends know that. I don't really say that. I usually do it after I do my schoolwork or whatever.
What was your inspiration to become part of this?
My mom, she was my inspiration. She always there volunteering and stuff, so I really wanted to. I tried it out and I really loved it.
Thank you so much. We're going to go back to the final speaker here at the Federal Plaza, and then we'll join the marchers on their way to the State of Illinois building. And we'll get some other interviews along the way.
Breakdown. Instead of taking him to the hospital, they took him to 111th Street lockup. We still waiting. This happened December 2012. I'm still waiting on the video of what happened to my son in that lockup. What we're trying to do with CPAC is get an oversight committee of citizens elected to oversee the Chicago Police Department. And people, you don't know how bad that's needed. My son was not a gangbanger. He was not a drug dealer. He had got his first degree from the University of Chicago. He got his second degree from Illinois University, and he was working with the Hospice Foundation. So the two things that he believed in most, which is law enforcement and health, is what finally killed him. And the police told me tonight that they took him. When I begged them to take him to Jackson Park Hospital to get a mental workup. They told me they don't do hospitals, they do jails. Now, if it was just white police, I'd be all upset. But there were black police out there also. And that's one of the things that we have to change by getting this oversight committee. There are two terrorist groups in the city of Chicago. Two known terrorist groups in the city of Chicago. One is the Chicago gangs, the other is the Chicago police. Now mind you, that if all of the police were the same, we'd be in a bowl of trouble every 5 minutes. But the good cops won't speak up until they retire. The good cops won't speak up because they're worried about their career. The good cops won't speak up until one of their family members wind up dead or tortured. We have to join this alliance to get as many people in Chicago on board with this. Because they try to make you think that we are worthless, we are useless, and we are hopeless. They do that by fear. The gangs want you to fear, the police want you to fear. And then when they come into our community, they don't want information from us. They want to tell us how they want to provide services and enforcement. People, I'm in law enforcement, I'm going to tell you something. I was the commander of police in Chicago Housing Authority, CHA, here in Chicago for 9.5 years. We got Chicago Housing Authority off the most troubled housing list in the United States because we had to work with the residents. We had to talk with the residents. If we didn't work with the residents, we didn't work. That's the way they had it in CHA. That's the same thing we need to do in Chicago because this is a terrible city and should be labeled the tale of two cities. We got two cities here. When is the last time you had a shooting in the north side, a drive-by? How many white folks have the police killed accidentally on purpose?
Why is it that only people of poor communities and color are the ones who are on every list about police brutality, torture, and murder? Now, in certain places, you can call that genocide. But in the black community, where we know the black gang members are our children going wild, that's fratricide. That's killing of the brothers in your own sister. We have to organize around this alliance to do this. And we have plans of implementation, but we can't do it without registered voters. Just like we put these people in office, we can take them out if we get together and do it. The last thing I want to tell you is this. We're going to have more young people involved in these kind of movements so that we can get input in changing stuff. We don't need people to keep having pictures of pill dropping, pants dropping, gun toting thugs as the only thing in our black community, because that's not the truth about the black or the brown community. We have good young people in our community, and sooner or later they have to step up to the forefront.
We charge you with genocide. Racist cops, you can't hide. We charge you with genocide. Racist cops, you can't hide.
This is for Canteen. We're back with the MC of the protest here at the Federal Plaza.
All right.
Sharice, what is your last name?
We are about
Sharice
to start
Williams.
lining up so that we can
Sharice,
head down to City
why are
Hall.
we here on the anniversary of the March on Washington?
Because we are still fighting for basic human right of life. We are trying to fight to stop police crimes. They are killing, torturing, murdering, beating people within the communities, and we need to put an end to it.
How long have you been in this battle to stop police crime?
2 years myself personally. I've been at it real hard for the past 2 years.
And what is your hope for this march and the legislation that you're proposing to City Hall?
My hope is that our voices are heard, that the legislation will be acknowledged and enacted.
Now, this legislation is based on something that recently passed in New York. Have you been in contact with people from New York?
Our organization has had some contact with the people from New York. Ours is a bit more detailed than people from New York, where we are trying to prosecute and convict them and strip them of their badges. So we have a little bit more extensive, but New York definitely paved the way for our legislation as well.
Could you tell us about this legislation and what it would do if it passes here in the city of Chicago?
If it passes here in the city of Chicago, it will allow civilians to investigate the police officers as well as charge them for crimes that they have committed and convict them for such crimes. So it would allow civilians, it would turn the power from IPRA to civilians, everyday people such as you and me, that their actions are affecting.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Fuck the police. We want justice.
Police crimes have got to stop!
Excuse me.
It's crazy that cops can go around killing our kids with impunity. On President in his house. It's unacceptable. Unacceptable.
What actions have you taken besides this to help bring about justice?
Well, I have a bill. It's called Justice for Stephon Watts. Actually, the bill is for people with mental disability so that first responders have to be trained to deal with people with disability, not just autism. And we're trying to get it passed nationwide. First responders, which is police, fire, and paramedic, we need them to be trained to deal with people with disability.
So your child had disabilities?
My son Stephon Edward Watts was murdered in my house February 1st while he stand at the foot of the basement stairs with his dad, and he had a butter knife in his hand. Officer William Coffey and Robert Einek shot him while they stand up at my back door, shooting down in the basement, killing Stephon instantly. There it is.
And what has the government done?
They have done nothing because police force, they all stand behind each other. They always get away with a slap on the wrist. And that's why we have this bill, so that they can be trained.
Thank you. name?
Andy Fair, Thayer.
And why are you here today?
Well, I support the fight against police violence. The problem with violence, not just police violence, but all violence, is that we live in a deeply divided, economically stratified city, as bad as it was back when Dr. King visited our city. And the problem of violence is directly related to that. Until you start dealing with the economic inequalities, the racial inequalities in this city, you're not going to have a solution to police violence. But more immediately than that kind of economic and racial justice we need to see, we need to have a mayor that promptly fires and has his state's attorney criminally prosecute these corrupt and brutal police officers. Anita Alvarez does not act against these officers unless there is such proof beyond a doubt of their guilt even before they're tried. And that's the problem. If this mayor sent the message that he was not going to sign sweetheart contracts with a fraternal order of police that allowed these cops to get off the hook, then we wouldn't have nearly as much of a problem with police violence as we do today.
So you're saying two of the big steps we could take toward change is to equalize society. How do you propose we do that?
Well, for one thing, you look around the world, places like Western Europe, which are no Shangri-La, but the inequalities between rich and poor are much less, and as a result, all sorts of violence are much less as well. And that includes countries like Switzerland, where every adult male has got a firearm. The real issue is the inequalities that, unfortunately, our Mayor 1% has been savagely promoting ever since he became mayor. I mean, the sweetheart deals to the Pritzker family, the savage cuts to education, all these add up into a violence rate because our youth don't have an opportunity to make a living because all the money is being shoveled to the rich.
And what besides protests, which is obviously an important part of this, what besides protesting can the community do to bring about change?
Well, for one thing, we got to tell all the aldermen that their jobs are on the line if they continue to support Mayor 1%. There is a great deal of anger that has built up, starting with the protests against NATO last year, leading up to the record school closures we just saw. And I believe that enough people in this city are angry at Emmanuel that they're not going to keep their wrath focused solely on him, but anyone who supports him. And this is the kind of change that we need. I have seen where Mayor Daley, for example, way back in the day, tripled the AIDS budget when there was only one alderman supporting our position on that because people massed into the streets and surrounded him in the thousands in Uptown on a cold night and forced him and the city council to do a 180 within the course of just a few days because they saw the fear of the people as matched in the street. It's not enough to have the online activism. As much as a participant as I am in that, you need to get onto the streets if you really want justice. That's Dr. King's legacy. African Americans didn't vote in order to win the right to vote. They got onto the streets, and we need to respect that legacy and learn from it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, the green card would be on the elevator.
Okay, you good. Come on, keep chatting. Keep chatting.
Fight back!
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 Well, the only chance we can stand are the chains of hand in hand. Keep your eyes on the prize. Got my hand on the freedom fight. We'll take nothing from a journey now. Keep your eyes on the prize.
Right over here. Right over here. Don't you see where they push here? It's your home man showing right here.
We've
Make some noise. Make
Ain't
some
no
noise.
power like the power of the people, because the power of the people don't stop. What?
This is Juan Carlos Hernandez. We are now at the State of Illinois building, reporting on the March on City Hall to Stop Police Crime. And we have with us the mother of one of the victims of police crime, Juan Hernandez. What is your name, ma'am?
Esther Hernandez.
Okay. Tell us about what happened with your son and what you've been doing to help bring some justice to his life.
Okay, my boys were both framed by detectives of Area 5. They were framed for a crime that they didn't commit, for murder, right? So I've been fighting for, they've been in prison for 16 years already.
They've been in prison for 16 years.
16 years. So we started a committee about 10 years ago, Comité Exigimos Justicia.
¿Cómo se llama?
Comité Exigimos Justicia. We demand justice. We had that committee back then. And we rallied to police station. We went to police meetings and stayed, in downtown. And we did a lot of stuff, just to show them that our kids were innocent, that this detective framed them with so many different cases. He has over 40 cases.
What response have you received from the police and from government?
Nothing. We've been to the state's attorney's office. We rallied by his house. Back then it was Dick Devine. We wrote letters to him. He responded that he would look into it. And until now, we still have not received nothing from the police department or the city of Chicago. And if anything, there's been more people being framed by this cop. And now, so we are fighting and we're suffering. For 16 years, I haven't been able to, enjoy my sons.
Yes, if you would move this just a bit to the camera.
This is Juan Hernandez and this is Rosendo.
Rosendo.
They were both framed.
They were both framed.
They framed, for the same case.
For what crime were they framed?
They framed they're saying that they murdered Jorge Gonzalez, but they didn't. That's why I want to let the Familia Gonzalez know that my sons did not murder, that this cop is corrupted, and that this cop is corrupted, and he's just framing people with these cases. And we want this to stop right now, That's why we're here today. We're together with a whole bunch of other people, organizations, and other people that have had their sons killed, framed, and other stuff.
Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. My name is Bertha Escamilla, and I'm here in support of all of us with everything that we are fighting for. My son, his name is Nick Escamilla. He was wrongfully convicted and had to serve 15 years for a crime he did not commit. My son is finally home, but I'm still out here fighting for him and everybody else.
All right. Yes.
We all need to stand together. They're all the same stories, but different people. And I'm just so happy that there's a big turnout. There should have been a bigger turnout. Thank you so much. There's so many people that have so many stories to tell, but we're limited of time. Thank you so much.
All right, let's give a round of applause.
Miss Plummer.
I'm up here on behalf of my son, Johnny Plummer, who's now serving natural life, no possibility of parole. My son, Johnny, was 15 years old. The police tortured and beat my son with no clothes on. They caught everything that he said they beat him with. So you guys pray for me and pray that all our sons come home.
Amen.
Miss Montel and Gloria Johnson.
Right, it's about all of us. It's about
Gloria Johnson, and this is Montel Johnson. And I wanted to say that this is what God brought me home from the prison. This is condition. My son went in vital, walking and talking. He got sick with kind of aggressive MS, and the Illinois Department of Corrections decided not to treat it. So now this is what I got home. But I praise the Lord for that. As of tomorrow, he'll be home for 2 years. And I want to tell the people, continue to fight for health care. Because this, I mean, all over this country, not only this state, they would rather send our children to the morgue versus to die. That is wrong. We're all children of God. So as long as I can speak, I will be calling out for health care for all inmates. I don't care whether they're innocent or guilty. You got a job done, you're supposed to take care of it. Yes.
All right. Let's go. Take round number 12.
I'm here with another family member of a person that's been in prison for some time now. This is Maria Rodriguez. Please tell us about your family member. Who is he, and what was he convicted of, and what you've been doing to bring about justice?
My name is Maria Rodriguez, and my brother is Ricardo Rodriguez. He was convicted for a crime that he did not commit. He has been in prison for 18 years, and the arresting officers were Reynaldo Guevara and Ernest Halverson from Area 5. And I would like Anita Alvarez's office to know that they're not isolated cases. These are a lot of cases, and we would like an investigation. We're demanding that her office does an investigation.
Ahora, en español, bueno, porque me imagino que hay muchas familias latinas cuya lengua es el español y no siempre saben a quién recurrir para buscar ayuda, o si tienen preguntas sobre algún caso similar a de tu hermano. ¿Qué pueden hacer las familias que no hablan mucho inglés o que tienen miedo de la policía o el gobierno?
Es bien triste, pero hay muchos casos así. Yo les aconsejaría a las familias que siempre se busquen un abogado que hable su idioma para que se puedan entender. Es muy importante y que sepan sus derechos.
Entonces, un abogado y el apoyo de organizaciones comunitarias también apoyan o aportan ayuda legal.
Sí, hay muchas organizaciones que aportan a las familias. Está, por ejemplo, las Familias Unidas, está el Comité Exigimos Justicia, el comité que está aquí hoy también. Hay muchos que pueden ayudarles. Tienen que buscar en su comunidad.
Muchísimas gracias.
Sí, de nada, a ustedes.
We are hearing that the mayor, former mayor, Mr. Deli, has now convinced the chief judge to now reassign the case from someone that has subpoenaed him. I'm saying that the political football must stop in these torture cases. Also, what raises a red flag in the city of Chicago? 36 torture complaints by James O'Brien. 36. 40 against Boudreaux, Kenneth Boudreaux. What raises a red flag in the city of Chicago?
That's right.
Mayor Emanuel stated that he wanted to put an end to the tortures. Well, how can you put an end to the tortures when in reality you're not doing anything to free the men that are in prison? Thank you.
Yay! Make some noise!
Fight back! 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 Fight back!
Fight back!
Fight back! So we need that banner rolling. We need volunteers to hold the banner.
Hold the banner. Fly.
It's going to be a 3, I'm not sure.
Put it out a little bit more.
Spread out along the
We got to fight back. We have 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 to fight back. 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 We got to fight back. We got to fight back. 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 evil do good men do? Nothing. If you're a good cop.
Racist police! Stop fighting!
I forgot the name of
These are the victims of John's blood who all remain
Hi, we're back talking to some of the protesters here holding a long banner. What's this banner?
I think you should go up and talk to them.
Can you tell me what this banner is for?
It's all the names.
All the names?
All the wrongful, convicted, or tortured victims that's inside our city jails.
How many names are on this banner?
That I don't know.
You don't know? It's pretty long though.
Yes.
It's about, the banner is about a black long and being held up by a good number of marchers.
Black cops, white cops, they're all the same. Black cops, white cops, they're all the same. White cops, white cops, they're all the same. Fight back, fight back, fight back, fight back, fight back, fight back, fight back.
No peace, no justice, no peace. Fight back.
No justice. You no more. Torture victims. Right here. People of the boys in blue. City Hall. Who are you loyal to? We the people of the boys in blue. City Hall. Who are you loyal to? We the people of the boys in blue. City Hall. Who are you loyal to? We the people of the boys in blue. City Hall. Who are you loyal to? We the people of the boys in blue. Fight back! 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 Fight back!
That's right.
Fight back! 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 Fight back!
going to be in the middle right here.
We can do that.
Yes, your name, first of all, please?
Jeff Baker.
Who are you with, and why are you here?
I'm with the Chicago Alliance Against Racism and Political Repression, and we're here to get legislation passed. We're here because Independent Police Review Authority, which currently has oversight over the Chicago police, is nothing more than a kangaroo court. And no police have been convicted or even charged with murdering over 70 young men in the city of Chicago.
Who makes up this committee?
This committee is appointed by the mayor. Actually, the chief is appointed by the mayor, and then she designates the people that actually do the investigations. And it's a conflict of interest. You have the mayor saying, go watch our police. Go make sure our police don't commit crimes, so that when they don't commit crimes, or when we say they don't commit crimes, people don't sue the city.
Okay, and this new review board, or what is it called again?
Civilian Police Accountability Committee. We have legislation that would allow regular folks like you and I to have oversight over the police. So when they commit crimes, they get disciplined the same way we would. They go to jail the same way we would.
And how would this board be made up? Would it be elected, or what would happen?
Elected, absolutely. That must have been an officer pigeon. Yes, it's an elected board, and it will be elected by district. So we try to avoid folks throwing a lot of money into races by making it a district election.
So it would be small and local?
Small and local, and made up of the people like you and I.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You can't hide.
Genocide.
Kill the cops, you can't hide.
We're now at the Daily Plaza where this march will conclude. It's grown steadily, and actually the banner that the protesters were carrying earlier, it's actually about 240 feet long, is what I've been told by some of the protesters, and it carries the name of every single person that's been wrongly convicted in these past few years. Although the protest has grown, it's also grown steadily louder, and it's quite a variety of people out here as I'm looking at the crowd. We're going to switch over to the speakers. We'll have the final speakers of this protest in just a few minutes.
My name is Prosecute. My son was killed.
Actually, I have here another protester, the father of victim, Philip Coleman. Please tell us about your son's case and what's happened since it happened, and what you've been doing to seek justice for your son.
We've been trying to get the Chicago Police Department to release evidence that they had at 111th Street Police Station. They're supposed to have video cameras at all times because 2 other blacks were hung there. And we have not been able to get that since December 2012 until this date. They will not turn it over, so we're going to have to subpoena them. But one of the things that we're trying to do here today is to mobilize and organize a mass of folks in Chicago so that we would be able to get an elected, CPAC wants an elected oversight committee for the Chicago Police Department. That is a necessary evil that must be addressed. We have 2 terrorist groups in Chicago. One is the Chicago gangs, the other is the Chicago police. And fear keeps us at their beckoning. Because one thing the gangs understand and the racist police understand is that the ultimate expression of power is control. And as long as they can control the community or control the people, that's what they strive to do. And until we get organized, we won't be able to stop this until we get legislation to do so.
Now, well, you've told us about those cameras and the legislation you're hoping for. Tell us about your particular case and what happened to your son and how old that case is.
Well, the case is less than a year. It happened December 13th, 2012. And my son had a mental breakdown. I came home
he had problems with my wife, and you know, most people who have mental breakdowns, the first people to get attacked are the family members. So since my wife was there, he did some harm to her, but nothing serious. I get there, I'm the one that put my son in the police squadron. He wasn't fighting me. He was in and out of coherence, and 12 hours after I gave him to him, he's dead. They took him to Rosen Hospital. They lied to me at Rosen Hospital, and I'm going to deal with that also, because how do you tell somebody that your loved one just died at 8:40 p.m. that night, and the next day the newspaper said he died at 5:45 p.m., and I was in the hospital from 3 o'clock. We got some serious issues here, but the lawyers are going to handle the case, and that's what we're waiting results. But the police are not being cooperative at all.
Well, if the police is uncooperative and you've had to involve lawyers, how else can people who are concerned about police crimes become involved and push for this legislation that so many of the protesters have been speaking about?
Well, they can come out and join some of these groups that a group of different organizations are part of the alliance with CPAC. But each one of us want the same results, so we're working together with that. Now, we're going to be working with community groups, different community groups and churches, and we're going to just organize all these folks so that we are working on one accord rather than all separate units out here trying to do our own thing. But as far as a case like my son, 38 years old, never been in trouble, no gangbanger, no drugs, a graduate, 2 degrees, one from Chicago University, one from Illinois University, worked with the hospice program. I'm the father, I was there, I'm in law enforcement. I begged them to take him to the Jackson Park Hospital. They refused to do it. Told me they don't do hospitals, they do jail. And that's what my son was, when I got the autopsy, just tortured brutally, beaten all over his body. So we got some things we're going to be dealing with, but the Chicago police need a wake-up call. They need an oversight committee to govern them, not just for the victims, but also for the honest police. We still have police who can work honestly, have integrity and ethics, but they're surrounded by the small group of malicious, vicious cops that will kill you and mess up those guys' careers if they try to testify against them. That's why you have the police got the code blue and the gangs got no snitching. And the two terrorist groups, if we don't tell on them, what they gonna do? But the sad part about the Chicago police, some of the gangs will go to jail. These policemen are still working after causing this city millions of dollars, and I don't know how any political leaders call themselves political leaders, and these guys keep their jobs like that.
Well, thank you very much. I hope the best for your case. We're now going to go back to the protest. We're here at Daly Plaza, and we'll be heading that way. Take it off the tripod, no?
I would like to call up Mr. Flint Farmer. Emmett Farmer. Flint Farmer's father.
No problem, no problem.
The banner that's wrapped around the Daly Center are all, not even all, but some of the torture victims who are still in prison doing long sentences, life sentences in prison. Look at this banner. I want everybody to just take a look at this banner. This is ridiculous. Ridiculous. Yes. Yes.
Coalition, no!
noise in this place. No peace. No peace. No justice. No peace. No more justice. No peace. No 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 justice. No peace. I just want to ask a question. How can a police officer shoot a man in his back 3 times while he's laying prostrate on the ground and call that justice? That's murder. That's homicide. And how come he still has a job? I want to know why. I want to know why Attorney Alvarez has not arrested the police officer. I want to know why justice hasn't been served. It's been 2 long years, and this man has not been arrested. Are they above the law? It was caught on his own dash cam of his car. They got a video of this police officer shooting my son in the back 3 times while he's laying prostrate on the ground, and he has not been arrested. We demand justice. We demand justice. We demand justice.
so that we can get first responders to be trained to deal with people with disability. Please sign this bill for one and all.
Come on now, give her a round of applause. She's out there advocating for everybody. Give her a round of applause.
I want to thank everybody for being out here. I just walked with this banner. It is the saddest banner I could possibly imagine. Hundreds of victims of state terror, some of whom are still locked up, incarcerated, based on false confessions that were made under extreme torture conditions. So I think this is an absolute disgrace to the city, and it requires federal investigation to prosecute these officers who are involved. My own situation, and I want to tell you why I support CPAC legislation to replace the current Independent Police Review Authority, which is supposed to investigate police crimes in the city. I myself was attacked by two animal, absolute thug, off-duty Chicago police officers on February 7th, 2010. I still don't know the identity of those officers because the uniformed officers who responded to the scene of the crime walked those officers to their car, let them go off into the night against the pleas of me and my friend who were attacked. We called 911 from the scene of the crime, in fact, and still we don't know the identity of those thugs who wear badges in this city. We came home from the hospital and we were patched through, another 911 call, patched through to the Independent Police Review Authority. And that's where 3 years of intimidation and terror began. Once we called IPRA, they told us not to come and make a statement. They said, we think you should think twice about what you're doing. And we said, we were attacked by cops. What do you mean we should think twice about what we're doing? And that was the beginning of 3 years of just torture. And I just thank everybody for being out here today. It's time that cops who are off duty or on duty, like the ones who attacked me, it's time that they realize that they will be held accountable for their actions. They will be held to the letter of the law, just like any of us, that they do not stand above the law. Thank you.
Miss Morgan?
God bless everyone that's here today. Without God, we would not be here in such a peaceful demonstration. I'm happy to see all of you. We have to lean on one another when we're not strong, because we have to keep faith ahead of us, hope around us, and love walking through us. That is the only thing that's going to persevere and take us to the finishing line, that we know that victory will be there. My name is Reverend Rosalind Morgan. I'm the wife of Officer Howard Morgan, which was a railroad policeman. 8.5 years ago, he was shot 28 times, 21 times in the back parts of his body, and 7 in the front. And he identified himself as a railroad police officer. Chicago police shot him. They beat him in his head, and they took him to Mount Sinai Hospital, where he was almost pronounced dead. But I want to let you know something on this most precious day, that he is still alive. He is still alive. And because he is alive, there is still hope where we are today. We would not be here if we didn't think that hope and victory would be awaiting us at the end of this tunnel. Now that Howard Morgan was shot 28 times, that was not enough. He was charged with 4 counts of first-degree attempted murder, 3 counts of aggravated battery, and 1 count of aggravated discharge of his weapon. There was a trial. They put a $2 million bond on a man that had never been in jail or committed any crimes before. After that, they had a trial. A jury of his peers, listen good, a jury of his peers, they found him not guilty of shooting his weapon.
not guilty of shooting his weapon. That wasn't good enough. It was taken to the appellate court. They denied the appeal. It was taken to the Illinois Supreme Court. They denied it. Then it was taken to the Supreme Court. They did not hear it. Their statement was put a Rule 23 on it. That means don't talk about it. And then you send it back to the trial judge for the remaining charges that should have been wiped out because this whole thing was initiated around the shooting of a weapon. If they say that you are not guilty of shooting your weapon and there was no other weapons used on that night, then why would you still have the remaining charges on you? That wasn't good enough for them. They had a second trial. Jurors of not his peers. Therefore, they would not, Howard Morgan's attorneys were instructed, do not tell the second jurors about any acquittal regarding you. If so, there would be serious repercussions. They could not tell them that it had been a first trial and he was acquitted. So therefore, they had a trial for 10 days. The jury came back and said that Howard Morgan was guilty. They never heard that he was not guilty. They never heard that. So at this point, they sentenced Howard Morgan to 40 years in the penitentiary. If the young people that have died, their blood is crying out from the grave to have justice. This injustice must stop. It must lie down. It must stay buried. But if we began to weaken in our spirits and we do not ask for justification, it will never take place. If you sit down on anything, you'll stand for nothing. So thank you very much.
So much credit for being you all here. My name is Romana Lambert. I served 30 years in prison for crime I did not commit. My issue is that women, same way they do men in torture, they will do us. That's what needs to be heard. Women, we're also being thrown into these plantations, also being executed, and also being murdered. God bless me to be here. Praise God. 2 years before I was free after the 30-year torture of being locked up for something I didn't do. My son was murdered, slaughtered, modernized lynching by the Calumet City Police, Prince Akbar. I'm traumatized. I'm so tore down. And because everybody's here, I have strength through you, and I thank you for that strength. That's all I can say. Thank you. Because we gotta fight. We gotta stand up. They ain't playing with us, we ain't playing with them. Fight back! Fight back! Hello, my name is My name is Mrs. Lois Poole Clayton. I have a brother today, name is David Poole. This is a photo of David, what he looked like while he was beaten while in restraints. Beaten profusely about his body. 20 years of filing written complaints against these individuals at Chester Mental Health Center, and the complaints always return back unfounded. Well, I've changed my strategy for working with them, and we've received 2 complaints substantiated now, and things are looking up. But we're still concerned about him because now his liver is turning green from forced psychotropic drugs. So I'm asking you for prayers for my brother and for my other patients at Chester, and I thank the Alliance for being representation for my brother.
We're going to wrap it up now. I just want to say one more time, thank
Okay. I just want to give directions. The buses will be on Clark Street, to my right, where I'm pointing. The buses will be lined up on Clark Street. And we need you to remember your bus number, and the bus numbers will be visible, and load on your buses on the west side of Clark. Did everybody get that? On the west side of Clark. Now, Clark is to my right. Clark and is that Washington? Clark and Washington, that entire block.
Washington going back to Randolph. Now that's the technical piece. Did everybody get that? Everybody know how they get home? Now here's the other piece. This is probably the last time that we'll do this way. The next time, we will be inside City Hall so that we can change laws so that police don't even think that they can get away with this many tortures or this many murders. Do you hear me? Are you ready to come out again so we can change policy? We need your attendance, and we need your feet on the ground, and we need your help. There are a handful of folks that are fighting this fight, and we need all of you that came out here today, took time out of your day to come out here and fight against these injustices, to continue to come out. Can we look to you to help us fight City Hall and get this legislation passed? We will be getting in contact with you, and if we don't get in contact with you, get in contact with us. We need your help. If you are serious about protecting your children and mine, if you are serious about justice, get in contact with us. Help us fight this fight. We need your body. We need your support. Financial, physical. We need your support. Call our number. If you don't have our number, check our website. If you don't have our website, find some, read the shirt. How about that? www.stoppolicecrimes.com. Check us out. We need your help. Did I miss anything? Did I miss anybody? And we're going to close out. We have another victim. But is everybody on board with us today? Are we heading in the right direction? God bless you. Thank you for coming out.
God bless everyone. My name is Valerie Love, and my nephew is Javan Deloney, who was a torture victim. I have COPD, so I can't speak long. I have a spokesperson for me. But I do want to say this, because not only is this Chicago, are we aware two weeks ago in Forest Park in a nursing home that the police went in and killed a 95-year-old man in a nursing home?
That's it right here, guys. First off, her nephew is named Javon Deloney. He's in Menard Penitentiary.
Sorry?
He was tortured by Kill and Boudreaux. Boudreaux everywhere. And he out freaking. And the funny thing about it, he's teaching other police officers how to protect y'all children. That's what you need to know. So my thing is here, they may hate on Gator, but Gator put his life on the line on front. And something else, you can't change policy if you ain't registered to vote. Now, you got a government election coming up. If you don't vote and Daisy get in, all this ain't gonna be for nothing.
All right, everyone, our buses are lining up.
When I say city pack, you say people's power. People's power.
This is Juan Carlos Hernandez reporting for CAN TV from the Daily Plaza. This was the march on City Hall to stop police crime. The crowd is now thinning out, and this is a report from CAN TV.
Those who are heading back to the buses